Welcome back, guys. So in this video we are going to continue on with our discussion on responsive design and look at responsive navigation. We're going to do a popular thing referred to as a hamburger button, which is a little tiny square like this one that we have in the corner if they're on a smaller screen or device that they can click on or touch with their finger, and it will open up the menu so that the menu doesn't show until they're ready to see it. So let's see how that works. In order to add responsive design, we have to play in our HTML, our CSS, and we'll even dab a little bit into JavaScript today. So in the HTML document, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to find our navigation area. So let's scroll up here. Here's the navigation. And we're going to add a div right below our starting nav bracket. And we're going to type div space, and then we need to assign it a class so we can have something to assign our styles to. And for this class, let's just do menu-button. Close that bracket, and then this is where we're going to put that image for our hamburger button. Kind of a funny name, right? So that's going to be image, source, and I put it in our images folder. And then let's find it here. There it is, menu. And then we're going to assign a size to it. So the width is, in this case, 63, and our height is 57. And then for our alternative text, we're going to put show navigation, so that if they're using a screen reader, then they could see that that image is to show the navigation. Okay, looks good. Checking my spacing here. Beautiful. And that's not it. With our HTML, we also need to throw in our JavaScript. Now you're thinking, oh, JavaScript, that's in the head, right? Not necessarily. JavaScript can take some time to load. So if the JavaScript is at the bottom, then it will help us avoid potential slower loading time for the script to load. So we're going to go down to our footer here, and right below the footer, but before the ending of our body, we're going to put in a script. So we just type in the word script source, src. So similar to our image, but this time we're calling on a script. And in quotes, we're going to put the name of our file. Now I know I put it in the same folder as my HTML and CSS documents, .js for JavaScript. And then the script does require a closing bracket, so I'm going to put a closing bracket here. And you'll see later when we start to build forms, it's because we could put buttons or other things in between the brackets that would show. But in this case, we don't need to show anything. So this is it for our HTML. Now let's go play with our styles. So in our styles here, we're actually going to do quite a bit. Basically, we're going to take our current default styles, which allow us to have the menu look like this, and we're going to move it to where these options don't show unless the screen is a certain size. So first I want to go to my header section, which is where we're going to stick the hamburger button. Here it is. And here within the header, we're going to add a width of 80%. We're going to make room for that hamburger button to show up, which, because I have a larger image for my header, it might look a little funny. I might need to go into Photoshop and play with my header image a little bit more, but let's just make it fit for now. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to add float, because we want our header to float to the left so that our hamburger menu will show up on the right. And that's it for our header. Now we're going to go down to our site navigation bar, which is right here below the header, and we're going to add a few things here. Above the color, we're going to add a width of 18%, and you're thinking, why not 20? Just watch. And then we're going to add a padding of 5%, a space, and 1%. And remember, we have two values. It's top, bottom, left, right. So if you add the 80% plus the 18% plus the left and right for 1%, then that's where we get our 100%. Some basic math there for you. And then below our color, we're going to add in a couple more values here. We're going to float our hamburger menu to the right. So we're going to go float right. And we're going to have the position be relative to the image. Beautiful. Now let's add a new style rule here. We're going to type in div, so that new div we created, dot menu button for our class that we assign to it. And then we're going to float that to the right. And then here in our nav, where we have the classification for our unordered list, we're going to add a few items to that here. So we're going to, above the background color, let's put in a border of 3 pixels. We'll make it solid. And for our color, let's do an EFFB. See if we like that. I'm grabbing that color from up here. And here's where you might think it would get interesting. Display none. means this isn't going to show. Just watch. And then below the background color, I'm just a little picky about my ordering. We're going to add position, absolute this time. 5% from the right. And then from the top, we're going to go 70%. And then our Z index, remember that one? We're going to do a 2%. Now in our list items, we have to delete one of our rules here, and that would be our inline block. So this right here. And then we have a few more styles to add here. So we're going to go down to our standard screen sizes that we created in our last video. There's our small screen sizes. Here's our standard screen sizes. And we're going to actually add quite a few extra rules here now. So I'm going to actually stick this above the H3. So it's going to be my first rule, my first declaration. And in the header, we're going to put a float, none, and a width of auto, automatically fits. Then we're going to add a div.menu button. So see how we're adding the same rules, we're just going to have them do something a little different if the screen size is bigger. Can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, and then this one's going to be display none. Now let's focus on our navigation menu here, our nav.site navigation. That's the classification we created. And let's return that back to a width of 100% like it was. And then let's do a padding of 0%. Okay, and one more. Remember what we also modified above is the nav site navigation list, right? An ordered list. So let's fix that back to what we were used to as well, with a border of none, a width of 100%, so it fills out. Display as block, position static, doesn't move, and then let's center it again. Oh, my space. Awesome, that's closed. And then one more thing. Remember we deleted that value for our list items, so let's add that back too. And remember we just deleted the one thing, so we're going to put that one thing back, and that was display as inline block. And then I just need to close this bracket, and I believe we're in business, folks. Placement is important. Okay, so before we dump it and show what this actually did, let me save all, and then let me show you the script we're going to use. Remember, in our HTML document here at the bottom, we put to run a script. And so this is some very simple JavaScript here. It's looking at the navigation button, the menu hyphen button classification image. And basically, if it's clicked to display the menu item as a block, if it's clicked again, don't display it. That's the gist of what this is accomplishing here. Okay, let's see what this does. Let's run our page. I'm going to go back into my browser and refresh. And remember, we shouldn't see anything change when we're at a bigger size like this one. So right off the bat, I'm pleased. Looks the same. Now let's watch when the screen gets smaller. Did you see that? It went from that 100% to the 80%. And obviously I could play with the spacing here to put them closer together, but as someone that's particular with my graphic design, I will most likely change out this image altogether for the smaller screen sizes so that it's a more simple image, which will also help with load time too, because remember the smaller devices, they're usually using data, but that's a designer's call. So now that we have this smaller screen size, let's actually click this button and see what happens. Did you see it? So when it's clicked, it shows our menu items, close it, open, and then we still have all of our same features applying with our link classifications we did in previous videos, where it changes a different color as they hover. Awesome, and it still keeps the same font, and then when you're not needing it, you just click it. Pretty neat, right? And then once we make it bigger, it goes away, and we get our navigation menu back. Too cool, right? So that's a quick preview into responsive navigation. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always comment down below. You want to take a look at the files, I'm willing to share them with you. And with that said, I am signing off. Enjoy your day, and I will catch you later.